Center. Dave Walker is an audiovisual archivist at the Smithsonian Center for Folklife and Cultural Heritage, where he leads preservation and access initiatives for the rural Lindsay Folklife archives and collections. He specializes in the conservation and digital reformatting of at-risk analog audio formats and trains others in these practices through workshops, hands-on labs, and international collaborations. Dave contributes to the development of national and international standards for audiovisual preservation. His recent projects include a 2022-2023 partnership with the Tbilisi State Conservatoire and a Fulbright specialist collaboration in Taiwan, both focused on preserving endangered sound collections and building regional capacity to carry out this work. Zhu Chia-Tseng is an archivist at the Digital Archive Center for Music of National Taiwan Normal University, where she's primarily responsible for implementing music archiving projects. She specializes in the preservation and management of paper-based music materials, as well as research on music archives, which forms the focus of her doctoral dissertation. She was awarded the National Science and Technology Council Fellowship for doctoral candidates in the Humanities and Social Sciences in 2024. Chia Wen-Chiang is a PhD candidate in ethnomusicology at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. Originally from Taiwan, her research interests include music and identity, indigeneity, indigenous knowledge production, environmental issues, resistance, and activism. She is the executive member, producer of Sound Memories of Past Palau, music in Palau, between 1965 and 1966. An album featuring field recordings by the late ethnomusicologist Yamaguchi Osamu, and the producer of Broadcast, an album of Yami Tao music set for release in January 2025. She recently returned from extensive field work with the Yami Tao community on Orchid Island, Taiwan, and is currently completing her dissertation. So now they're going to give us a presentation titled Seeing Sound Preservation, Building Capacity for Endangered Media in Taiwan. Thank you.
Aloha mai kako. My name is Chia Wen-Chiang. I'm a graduate student from Taiwan, pursuing my PhD degree here in ethnomusicology here in University of Hawaii in Manoa. I'm also an alumna of the East-West Center and National Taiwan Normal University, NTNU. Today, I'm thrilled to share our collaboration here in Honolulu, as my journey as both an archivist and also an ethnomusicologist has brought me to so many amazing people and their inspiring work. Our presentation titled Seeding Sound Preservation, Building Capacity for Endangered Media in Taiwan is the result of a fruitful collaboration between NTNU and the Smithsonian Institution through the Fulbright Specialist Program with support from the American Institute in Taiwan. Our collaboration took the form of a 2-week intensive workshop on audiovisual preservation, saving music heritage of Taiwan, conservation of endangered sound recordings at NTNU, which was held 5 months ago from April 14 to 25th. Supported by Dr. Gina Huang, the workshop was led by Fulbright specialist Dave Walker and organized by my colleague Zijia Zheng, archivist at the Digital Archive Center for Music at NTNU. During the workshop, we worked together on the digital conservation of 18 cassette tapes featuring the music of the indigenous Yami Tao people of Taiwan, recorded by Professor Shanhua Qian of NTNU in the 1970s, as well as open reel tapes and Super 8 silent films recorded by the late Japanese ethnomusicologist Yamaguchi Osamu in the 1960s, which were donated to NTNU between 2009 and 2012. Professor Yamaguchi's collections were made while he was conducting field research for his master thesis here at UH Manoa in the 1960s. With the field research grant from the East-West Center, He carried out fieldwork on traditional music and dance in the Central Caroline Islands between 1965 and 66, including the Republic of Palau, Yap State of the Federated States of Micronesia, and their outer islands. The audiovisual materials he collected during this period have since become invaluable historical sources. Having worked with Professor Yamaguchi on his collections between 2009 and 2014, and now retracing his journey at UH Manoa and ISA Center, I deeply appreciate the opportunities and support that have guided me along the way. Through the ongoing collaborations, we are now able to revisit these historical recordings and retransfer them with improved quality and up-to-date preservation practices. Okay, next I will briefly introduce the background of this collaborative project. The Digital Archive Center for Music, abbreviated as DACM at NTNU, was established in 2004. It is the first academic institution in Taiwan dedicated to the development of music archiving. Since the Department of Music at NTNU is the oldest music department in Taiwan, DACM was originally founded with the mission of preserving the historical materials left behind by the department. Over the past 20 years, we have not only learned how to preserve music materials, but have also greatly cultivated our talents, especially in the field of audiovisual preservation. In 2008, we invited Dr. Schuller to Taiwan to conduct a multimedia workshop, which deepened our understanding of audiovisual preservation. Later in 2014, DACM sent for members, including Chao Wen, to the phonogram archive in Vienna for training. Under the guidance of them, we successfully digitized a collection of valuable open real field recordings from Taiwan dating back to 1967. These two learning experiences have shown us that the preservation of audiovisual materials is an urgent matter. While it's important to rely on the expertise and knowledge of professionals, what's even more urgent is cultivating our own skilled people. The exchange between DACM and CSDH goes back about 14 years. At that time, Dr. Huang and I visited CSDH. It was our first encounter with this truly remarkable institution. In 2018, we invited Dr. Michael Mason and Dave to Taiwan to host the Smithsonian Institution Experts Forum. And in 2019, we had the pleasure to welcome Dr. Tony Seeger as a visiting professor for one semester. He shared with our faculties and students a wealth of knowledge and experience in ethnomusicology and audiovisual archiving. In 2022, one of our partners, Associate Professor Xinwen Xu, received a Fulbright Senior Research Grant to conduct research at CSDH. Through his connection, the College of Music at NTNU, where DACM is based, signed an MOU with CSDH the following years. This is an important step that also laid the groundwork for this project. With the support of the Fulbright Specialist Program, Dave came to Taiwan this April to collaborate with us in organizing the workshop. Considering the venue and equipment, we ended up recruiting 12 participants after making the information public. Among them were 2 senior audiovisual engineers from industry, already very familiar with standard multimedia digitization workbooks. 3 archivists from national level institutions with experience in audiovisual transfer and preservation. 2 project assistants and 1 freelancer, who were newcomers just stepping into the field of audiovisual archiving, and 4 graduate students from NTNU, all of whom had taken courses in recording and digital archiving. Although the participants came with different backgrounds and level of experience, what was truly valuable was that they all shared the same strong enthusiasm for learning. This energy made it possible for the workshop to be carried out successfully.
After receiving approvals from the board. All right, that's okay. Good luck charm, the Guai. We'll talk about the Guai in a second. After receiving approvals from the Fulbright Specialist Board and the American Institute in Taiwan, we worked together to design a workshop tailored to Taiwan's unique needs and resources. We knew that the participant group would include national archivists, freelance engineers, graduate students, and newcomers to preservation work. So we designed the program as a hybrid of lecture and lab. Each morning began with presentations on core topics like handling, stabilization, or digitization, and each afternoon was fully hands-on. That meant participants could immediately apply techniques like cassette. There we go. Like cassette reshelling, open reel leadering, or 8mm film inspection with support from the instructors and their peers. We also made an effort to keep the tools approachable. For example, our collection imaging setup used a simple ring light and a smartphone on a copy stand. Our goal was to empower participants to adapt these techniques to their own institutions, even without large budgets. One of our core goals was to demystify pre-digitization stabilization workflows. We spent a lot of time on foundational skills like identifying deterioration, leadering, replacing reels, and reshelling cassettes. As we know, these steps are critical for preventing damage during playback and ensuring long-term storage stability. But we focused not just on what to do, but why, helping participants understand the physical structure of tapes and the vulnerabilities of the formats. We emphasize careful inspection before any tape goes near a machine. And then we moved on to the digitization process. We reviewed basic signal flow, how to set levels, how to adjust azimuth, and most importantly, how to listen carefully for problems. Participants digitized both cassettes and open reel tapes using workstations we had set up in advance. And we walked through metadata templates, file naming conventions, and QC strategies. The hands-on component really helped reinforce the learning. I'll just point out the Guai in there, which in Taiwan is believed to help with a machine to perform as best as it can. So you often find this bag of, it's like a coconut snack in hospitals and IT rooms, and also in audiovisual archives. So I have my mini Guai here, which is helping to keep our presentation really smoothly. And it helped for our workshop as well. Thank you. And then, of course, Taiwan is a very hot, humid climate, so we had to address mold remediation. So several of the items in the collection showed sign of mold or debris. So we included a unit on safe mold remediation practices. This included dry surface cleaning with microfiber cloths, HEPA vacuuming, and limited wet cleaning with soft brushes and mild solutions, all being done in well-ventilated areas. We emphasized double bagging, label documentation, and when to defer playback. It was important that participants knew how to mitigate risks without causing more damage because, as we know, if you bring in one collection that is unhealthy and you put it right next to a healthy collection, you just compromised your whole space. So that was an important detail. You can see the before and after there of the laboratory display. And then film handling. So we also dedicated time to inspecting 8mm film elements from the Palau collection and the Taiwan Symphony Orchestra, the symphony collection. Participants used loops to check for warping, shrinkage, and vinegar syndrome, and learned to identify splice tape versus cement splices. And since many had never worked with film before, this was a great hands-on way to introduce film handling skills, like using gloves properly, rehousing reels, and documenting damage before scanning. And one challenge we didn't necessarily expect was the extent of corrosion inside some of the equipment, especially the cassette deck. We discovered that long-term storage in Taiwan's humid climate had accelerated rusting on the capstan, PCBs, and heads, several of the machines. But we use this as a teaching opportunity, not only to clean and recondition parts, but also to talk about how climate conditions like humidity can degrade not just the media itself, but also the machines that are needed to access it. Next slide. And one deck in Akai GX 6.5 failed during the workshop because of a broken part. It was an auto shut-off cam that allowed the tape transport to run. We couldn't source the part locally, but we were quite fortunate to find an accurate 3D model that somebody else had uploaded to an open source 3D printing database. And so thanks to the quick work of 2 students who are familiar with 3D printing, we were able to outsource a replacement in less than 24 hours. And with a little trimming, it worked perfectly. So, and if you want to see later, we have the before and the after, you can come take a look at. And so this ended up being a great example of how open source design and community knowledge can help sustain legacy equipment, especially in regions where replacement parts are scarce or shipping is difficult. It also reinforced the importance of mechanical literacy in AV preservation. Next. And now we'd like to share a short excerpt from one of the tapes digitized during the workshop. This particular recording is part of field tapes captured in the 1970s on Orchid Island, one of the outer islands of Taiwan. The performance you'll hear documents the traditional music and language of the indigenous Yami or Tao people that is now at risk both due to the fragility of the original media and cultural shifts over time. So let's listen for a moment. Just 30 seconds.
Hina shitara na unakam ta minato der ravanwa namun hina to der ravanwa namun do kalyekai nora tina kalinunga Likinora Taina Kalenongan Loyana Manchina Watawanisha.
So these recordings were largely inaccessible prior to this project, and they serve as a powerful reminder of why audiovisual preservation is so urgent, not just technically, but ethically and culturally. So with that, I will open it up for challenge for you.
All the Super A silent films were first digitized by a film collector in 2009, since we lacked of the equipment and the expertise at that time. However, we revisited the films during a workshop in April, using a Wolfram film scanner brought by Dates. We discovered that the digitized files were heavily cropped. If you compare the 2 photos of the same film on the left, you can see how much information was missing in the 2009 digitization. Not only the background, but even the dancers. The new scan also renders the colors much more vividly. The professional visit to the Taiwan Film and Audiovisual Institute, TFAI, at the end of the workshop has also led to an ongoing collaboration. With TFAI's assistance, We successfully obtained a 2K scan of 2 films using the Scanity HDR system in August, as shown in the photo on the right. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank Yixuan from TFAI, who facilitated the 2K scan, the new 2K scan for us. With the collaboration of TFAI, we plan to complete the redigitization of the remaining 27 film clips, retrieving all the details from originals. Looking ahead, our long-term goal is to synchronize the separately recorded sound, which will preserve on open reel tapes, with this silent film, bringing music and images back together. All participants shared their feedback at the end of the workshop. One of them is a vendor who provides audiovisual preservation services for several government projects. Beyond expressing his appreciation for the workshop, he also emphasized the need for a best practice guide tailored to audiovisual collections in Taiwan. We also had several project managers join the workshop. Although they had previously overseen audiovisual archiving projects, they were especially excited to engage in more practical, hands-on training aligned with IASA standards. In addition to audio preservation, we are committed to bringing the digitized files back to the communities where the recordings were made. Through collaboration around these digitized materials, we're also looking forward to fostering more discussions, dialogues, and partnerships in the future.
This project began as a technical workshop, but it quickly turned into something much deeper. Over 2 weeks, participants didn't just learn how to digitize a tape or stabilize a film reel. They built a shared language and vocabulary around preservation. They asked thoughtful questions about ethics and cultural sensitivities, about how to carry this work forward in their own institutions. And that energy, that commitment to care was at the heart of the workshop. And we believe that this kind of short-term community-centered training can plant the seeds for long-term change, not only in Taiwan, but in any region facing the twin challenges of obsolescence and climate-driven cultural loss. We're incredibly grateful to our colleagues at NTNU, to Fulbright Taiwan, and to all the participants for their curiosity, trust, and collaboration. And with that, we say thank you and look forward to your questions.
Thank you so much, David, Zhu, and Chia. I think we all need a guy now. Yeah, with that, I open the floor for questions. Yes, please.
Oh, that's being used as kind of like a light box. So you can get a little light, like a free app. It's just like a white screen. So you can put your film down and then see, it illuminates your film with a loop.
And here is a great example of having these small objects and then you can have, it's important as well.
Definitely. Yeah. Because like, I mean, like every institution has different levels of resources. So, I mean, finding like the lowest tech with like the lowest resource, to engage in this work, I think is really important.
Similar to a microscope, right? For it's like basically a microscope. So you put it on very close to the face, and you can see the actual groove, and if it's broken, like it's something like that.
This one is just serving as like a light behind the film. But in an earlier slide, we showed how we had a camera station set up, like just using like a selfie light, and then you can get detailed photos of like the tape pack and stuff like that. Like that could be useful for assessing broken discs, but maybe not at the resolution of like a microscope, being able to see the grooves. The loops are similar to like what I guess a driller would use for like fixing jewelry, things like that. So, but that's a great point. Yeah.
Any other question or comment?
That's fine. An excellent presentation. That was an excellent presentation, and I actually love the ending that you really got it all together. And out of everything we do is culture ahead. Often we get tied into this technical aspects because that's so important. And you should know that, and I say person, you know, from the US to Texas, Finland. And I guess my question is, did you feel sort of the love during the workshop focused on foreign culture to knowledge then and to just think of how supportive about using American sort of like food staffing, you know, like having use yourself sometimes. Does that make sense? Like, thank you for your comments. Actually, because I've been working with this collection before, I think you make now, so I feel the responsibility to really handle them carefully and in a meaningful way. Although we are having lots of challenge and difficult times, and thank you for support and this advice, so we're able to recover this time dance. And we know that, yeah, as you said, there's a lot of nuance and care within this workshop, and I'm really happy to see many more younger people, or like new generations, like they are really engaged in the digital archiving project, and also learn about ethical cultural sensitivities. So I think it's a really good workshop. I think that's a good job and very fruitful result for people, not only us, but also the younger students can learn, and maybe they will be interested in doing as archiving work in the future.
I don't know that makes sense. My question was kind of along the same line, I guess, but when this workshop was going on, there was certainly knowledge there going on with the young group. But you mentioned a couple of times that different kinds of knowledge that the participants had as well. What sorts of knowledge sharing were going on between the participants? So if you looked at it from like an ethnographic perspective, what kinds of interpersonal dynamics and what kinds of knowledge about?
Thank you for the question. Actually, yeah, we have participants from all different fields. Some are really experienced. Two of them are really experienced in archiving or sound engineering, and some are new students, graduate students from our institute, and also some are project managers. They already oversee the projects. So I think because our workshop has like mornings are lectures, theoretical frameworks on technical issues, and afternoons are hands-on workshop. So most of the knowledge sharing is like what I did before, and after Dave's guidance, so we do the hands-on things, and we realize that what works best for us, or what does not work that much for us. And also they share about each other's collection and their experience in handling the collections before. But I think most importantly is the hands-on parts, because we spend a lot of time in the afternoon to really clean the tapes and fix the tapes and splice them together, and also go through all the details of the materials, even for the equipment, the machines too. So I think this kind of knowledge sharing is really valuable for most of the participants, because they don't usually have the hands-on exercising practices.
Yeah, and kind of going along with that, like one of the takeaways from several of the students was that you know, access to information about archiving is, you know, available, right? Like they can access IASA journal articles. I mean, some have been translated to, you know, Mandarin, but really getting the hands-on, like actually sitting down and handling tape. I mean, there were some career archivists there who they've never worked with tape before, you know, and for them it was very they expressed like a personal satisfaction in getting to do the hands-on work and learn, like, you know, in the moment. There was also a couple students who one student who worked with like the Hakka like indigenous community, on a digitization project prior to the workshop. And so she said like, wow, I learned so much more on top of, it's kind of building on pre-existing knowledge, to inform future work. So that's pretty cool.
Thank you so much.
Sure, thank you.
Right, so now